Aloha, Namaste, Sitaram, Assalamu alaikum, Shalom. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night. Welcome to each and every one of you. My name is Dianne Ojar, and I am so thrilled to be with you today. And I want to say thank you so much for your love and support. I know you love when we get together because I do. It's so much fun doing this for you. Today, I know I say every show I'm so super excited, but today you'll see I'm really and truly excited. This is something I've been waiting on for a long time. But before we introduce our guests, I would just like to say, why Divine Soul Journey? Divine because we connect with the divine, whoever divine is for you. So we all have original soul, and we're on a journey, so we want to be on that journey together with you. Just want to let you know, as a disclaimer, we're not here to convince you or make suggestions to you. We just hope that you'll be open to the practices that we do. If it resonates with you, awesome. If not, it's okay. Just sit back and enjoy. The next time you listen to it and you're open, please do feel free. Partake in the practices and the experience. Just to let you know that we do respect your beliefs and your faith. And I just want to again say thank you and welcome. But now I want to share I'll tell a little story about this gentleman. I know he may have heard this directly and indirectly, but he was one of those people a couple years ago that came into my life and pretty much played a very big part in my healing. And I have to say he was one of those people who was very patient with me in my healing. And he pretty much saved my life among many others. I can't do this journey without him. I know I bother him a lot. I tease him a lot. And he's just one of those people who has a big heart. So I want to thank him from the bottom of my heart. But I know he has a lot of work to do with me still. I don't believe he knows that, but he's going to know that today. And he's probably just laughing his head off right now. But please do help me welcome. And you'll understand why in a moment. Please do help me welcome Grand Master Teacher Francisco Quintero. Welcome, Francisco, to Divine Soul Journey.
Thank you, Dianne. I'm so happy. And yes, I'm laughing inside, but also very touched by your words.
Well, Francisco, you are one of those people who were there when I was struggling so much. You know, we always, and I say struggle in a good way, in a sense, good way, but yes. It was on a path to healing, what my scoliosis. Remember, we were doing the calligraphies, and there are times when I just couldn't take the pain. It's much better now. However, those moments was so excruciating, I can't even begin to explain it. I didn't understand any of this, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, but in regards to what it meant, the pain. But before we go there, I want to officially say thank you so much for taking the time. You're super, super busy, and congratulations on all your appointments. You just keep going and going and going and going and going and climbing up that spiritual ladder and your healing. And I want to say congratulations. That's amazing, but that's a lot of work that you have put into that, and you deserve it. I will say this honestly, you're one of those people who deserve it. I'm not saying that just because, but I believe you know that. I'm sincerely saying that to you. And how you do it is beyond, and how you do it is beyond me, as like I said before. So why don't you tell us a little bit who Francisco Quintero is?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, yeah, I mean, I have been on a healing, a spiritual journey, a transformation journey, a journey of enlightenment, a divine journey for over 20 years now. And when I first met Dr. and Master Jigong Sha, I was in my late 20s and living in California. And I was sick, actually. My blood pressure was really high. And for someone in their late 20s, that's, unusual. And I was teaching mathematics. So back then I was not spiritual. I was doing what other 20-year-olds are doing, teaching mathematics, but my blood pressure was 190 over 90. So I was watching my mom suffer from her blood pressure imbalances, medication, and so forth. I decided to make a change in my life. So I was looking for a way to heal myself naturally. And I found the work of Dr. and Master Jigong Sha. It was a book called Soul, Mind, Body Medicine. I started to do the practices. And over a period of time, about 1 year, my blood pressure changed. So I was like, wow, this worked for me. Does it work for other people? So I got to meet Dr. and Master Jigong Sha, and I was so blessed in those days that I was living right. He was teaching workshops right in my community in near Santa Cruz, California, in the Monterey Bay area. And I only had a 20-minute drive to go, once a month to see Master Sha in workshops. So I started to learn about everything he does and about the enlightenment journey, about soul language, about our ancestors, about something called karma and how we can transform it. So that's what began my journey. And 20 years later, I've got to travel around the world. I've got to teach people in different countries about these techniques. And now here I'm in Toronto, Canada, as one of Master Sha's leading teachers globally around the world. So it is a journey, Dianne, and I'm so happy to hear your story of how, you learning all these practices as well. Thank you, Dianne.
Well, thank you so much. And yes, I am looking at the Soul, Mind, Body Medicine book as well. And the first introduction I had when I came to in 2013, a girlfriend brought me there. They come check this out. It's like, okay. And it's not far from where I live to begin with. So I went, and Master Alan Chuck was there, and he was was doing a demo with the book and how to balance pain in the body. And that was my first introduction. At that particular time, I went there maybe 3-4 times and said, who would like to be a Dao Hands practitioner? I was new, didn't know much. I just knew that's something I had to do. Just like when I did my NLP, Neurolinguistic Programming, Hypnotherapy, I said, who wants to go there? I said, I want to go up there, meaning the highest it could possibly be at that particular time. And it's just how I was guided, not knowing at the time what guided meant, as you and I have had conversations before. But I was approved for the Dao Hands, and I didn't do it until about 6 years after, and that's when I got introduced to all of you, which was a whole nother story. So it was divine timing. And I just walked in one day with my girlfriend, not knowing what evening it was. And that was the evening they were talking about the Dao Hands. That was with Cher. And also, again, Master Alan. And that was the beginning of my journey. So I understand sometimes you're in the right place at the right time. So thank you for that. Now, some of your favorite, I know one of your favorite topics. Why don't you tell us your favorite part of all of this? Because I know you're very close and attached to the ancestral readings and the soul communications and our spiritual channels and the Shifus, and you'll explain all of that simply, or whichever ones. But I know you love doing those parts of it. So why don't we talk about what we want to talk about? Basically, one of the things most people don't understand is why we have blockages. So maybe we can start there and explain to many why we have blockages, particularly in finance. Because at the end of the day, as a former banker, it doesn't matter what anybody says to me. Relationships, health, everything pretty much comes back to finance at the end of the day. That plays a huge part in people's lives. So why don't we talk about that or one of your favorite topics and how we can sort of link them together?
Great. Thank you. Thank you,
You're
Dianne.
welcome.
Yeah. So, all of these topics are interconnected. They're really one.
That's correct.
So let us look first at why do we have blockages. So think about your life and notice where you feel stuck or where you feel blocked or where you are suffering. So there is a teaching in the work of Dr. and Master Jigang Sha that says that all our life challenges, disasters, all sickness is related to negative karma or negative information. So these are the unpleasant things that we have said with our actions, our speech, our thoughts, our behaviors, but not only from this life. Our karma is an accumulation from all lifetimes. The average human being has let's say about 800 lifetimes. Even if you don't believe in past lives or reincarnation, just look at this life of your actions, behaviors, speech, thoughts, and that negative karma is what is causing that interference in your life. It is what's blocking you from healing your physical body, from balancing your emotions, from having that happy, loving relationship, from having flourishing in business and finances. So we all have both good karma and we all have negative karma. We all do a lot of great things, love, our good acts of, our deeds, our good actions, acts of kindness. We're also accumulating good karma. At the same time, we're also accumulating negative karma. Every moment, think about it. Sometimes we have negative thoughts. Sometimes our speech is a little bit inappropriate, and so on. So how do we know? Anytime that we are making like a positive connection with someone, that positive connection can be with Mother Earth. It can be with anyone or anything. We are creating good karma. We are aligning. We are connecting. We are becoming one. Anytime we are disconnecting, then we are creating negative information. So our ancestors play a big role in that because our ancestors, they have also accumulated a lot of negative karma. A lot of good karma too. So in some sense, we're blessed because our ancestors have done a lot of good things, but we also can, carry some of their negative information. In some sense, it's like a spiritual law. Some people have a difficulty accepting, like, what do you mean? Like, I am carrying, like my ancestors' karma. It's part of our lineage. It's part of like our DNA, RNA. It's in our blood. So yes, we do carry, not all of it, but we do, you can say, inherit some of their negative karma that is connected with us. But the beauty of all this is that we can transform it. We can transform our negative karma. We can transform all this negative information. And when we do that, we are uplifting our soul, heart, mind, and body. We are blessing our spiritual journey. We are healing. We are transforming our lives. We are also helping our ancestors to grow and develop at the level of the soul, because some of them are no longer here on Mother Earth, but as a soul group, they're growing and developing. So our ancestors, some of them have done great things here on Mother Earth. Just look at history. People who had great ideas that brought healing, enlightenment to humanity, or people who were, immigrants, or they were moving forward, finding new homes, new lands for their families to have good health, long life, abundance, and more. Some ancestors did a lot of great things to bring healing to communities, to bring people together. And some of them were not famous, but they did a lot of great things while they were here on Mother Earth. But there was also the unpleasant things, the wars, the battles, that did not go well on Mother Earth, or that caused hurt or harm to others. So when we look at our ancestors, our ancestral karma is very important. It's very important to heal, to transform. Why? Because in your ancestry, let's look at your ancestry tree. You have your parents, you have your grandparents, your great-grandparents, your great-great-grandparents. The tree just becomes very large. Just in one lifetime, that ancestry tree can have thousands of people, thousands of souls, and their mistakes. And then you look at all past lives. You have 800 past lives. You're talking about a lot of souls. So the ancestral karma can be quite heavy with many people. So we want to work on transforming the ancestral karma and connecting to our ancestors so that we can be uplifted. So I love to do, one of my favorite topics, Dianne, actually, is the spiritual channel, is to receive messages from angels, from Buddhas, from divine Tao source, from other beings, from our ancestors. Wouldn't you love to know what the soul of your great-grandmother would love to, have a message for you, and what their life was like, or what, do they have a message for you? Or for healing, connecting with our ancestors to do forgiveness practice. I believe we're going to do a forgiveness practice today, but connecting to our ancestors to do that. So those are some ways why our life is blocked and why we need to transform that negative karma. Thank you, Dianne.
Beautiful. Thank you. So before we go there, there's a couple things we always talk about. Yes, we talk about the Shen, Qi, and Jin, which you briefly mentioned. So maybe you could take a moment to explain that pathway or the Tao science behind it. Because everything, people think it's also about all hocus pocus, right? Voodoo, hoodoo, everything, people can categorize it however they choose to, because unfortunately, they not knowing of all of this. But there's a science behind this. And we want people to understand it's not something that was just created, from Master Shah. There's a science behind it. So why don't you just briefly explain the pathway with the Shen Qi Jin? So, everybody in the holistic world, even myself, when I started this journey many moons ago, and apparently I've been doing this for lifetimes, which I didn't know. Now I understand that, but I didn't know this. Never knew what I was doing. I was good at what I was doing. I just didn't know what I was doing. But the idea was behind this, it was always about the mind, body, and soul. But it's actually reverse. So why don't you just briefly explain the soul, heart, mind, the chi, and the matter? how it works. So we have a better understanding.
Right.
When we say transforming, why is this pathway, exactly for the information, the messages will help them in their mind clarify as to what is Francisco talking about. Because right now it sounds like, oh yeah, it's all great, but hopefully we can clear this up, and they may have more questions down the road, but at least it gives them some clarity.
Great, thank you. So let's look at it a little bit different. So this is more, what I explained was more from a spiritual point of view. Now let's look a little bit more, Tao science. So here's an explanation. So in Tao science, we look at the soul, heart, mind, energy, and matter. And what it says is that everything has a field. Okay? So you are a field, a soul, heart, mind, energy, and matter. And everything and everyone is composed of a soul, heart, mind, energy, and matter. Another word for soul, heart, mind, energy, and matter, in Mandarin we have the word Shen, Qi, and Jing. Shen is composed of soul, heart, and mind. Qi is the energy. Jing is the matter. In Western medicine, there is a focus on Jing, the matter. When you are sick, you have a cold, you pop in a pill, okay? That's matter. Or if there's a tumor, the tumor is cut out. So there's a focus on the matter and transforming the matter. In traditional Chinese medicine, in Tai Chi, in Qigong, they focus more on the Qi to promote the Qi to flow, the energy to flow in the body. So we're taking one step further, and in some sense, we are doing Shen healing. We're doing soul healing. In this, when I met Master Sha, he had a phrase that said, heal the soul first, then healing of the mind and body will follow. You could expand that now to heal the soul first, then healing of the heart, mind, energy, and matter will follow. So what is all of this? Another word for soul is spirit. Another word for soul is information or message. So we are doing information healing. And think about your life. How much information comes your way, both positive and negative? You have messages coming through emails, through social media, through pictures, through things that you hear, see, all of that information, or even food. If you look at processed food and you read the ingredients in processed food, there's a lot of information there of all these ingredients that you don't even know about. They're all chemicals. It's information. In the most purest state, like a strawberry, it's just a strawberry. That information is more pure. A processed food, the ingredients, when it's very long, that's a lot of information there. Some of it good, some of it maybe not so good. So information is everywhere in our life. So the soul is information. It's the content of the information. What does that content have? You want it to have good health, long life, joy, happiness, and more. The heart is not the physical heart here. It is the spiritual heart. It is the receiver. Our spiritual heart receives these messages. Our mind processes that information. Here's one way. Sometimes in life, you are maybe in the shower, or maybe you're meditating, or maybe you're out in nature, but then you have a bright idea. It just clicks. You had an idea. I'm going to do this. That information came from your soul. Your heart received that information, and then your mind processed it and said, wow, this is a great idea. So there is a pathway of how your mind, your heart are receiving these messages. Some of you who are more spiritual, Maybe that message comes from Tao Source, from a saint, Angel Buddha. That message, your soul receives it, it comes to your heart, and then your mind receives it, and it's like you were guided by heaven in a special way. So that information is very important, that process. What happens after the mind? It goes to the chi. Your mind is able to move the chi in your body. It is able to put things into action. Chi is action. It's the thing that is moving in your life or in your body. When finances is flowing in your life, the chi is flowing. When you are healthy, the chi is flowing in your body. So you want the chi to move. The last one is the matter. The matter is the transformer. What are we transforming? We are transforming these beautiful energies of the soul, heart, mind, the energy, and manifesting it into physical reality. So the Jing is everything that we can see, that we can touch, that we can smell. And what we are doing is that when we are stuck in our life, it's because this field, this quantum field composed of Shen Qi Jing, it needs to grow. It needs to expand. It needs to radiate. You need to clear the interference. That interference is the negative karma, that negative information. And when you do that, you are expanding your quantum energy field. You are growing your field of love, light, whatever you want to call it. But you are enhancing your vibration. And that's what will lead to healing and transformation in your life. So I hope this provides a little different perspective on that. Thank you, Dianne.
Lovely. Thank you so much. So let's talk about when you're in the shower, because that's what really resonates with me. I have all these crazy ideas sometimes, very powerful, crazy ideas, I have to say, because it just comes like a thought. And I know you've said to me many times, oh no, your spiritual channels are open. Most people don't realize my third eye is not open yet. And because my third eye was not open or is not open, I used to believe that my spiritual channels now. But I was told on many occasions from many people, you're very different. I'm not kidding you about this one. You're very different. There's something different about you. And I was like, okay, I'm just me. I didn't know that my spiritual channels are open. I didn't know my direct knowing channel was open. I do a session called The Elephant in the Room. And one of the girls I was working with, she said to me, never dismiss, but your spiritual channels are open. I said, what are you talking about? She said, no, your direct knowing channel is open. I didn't understand any of it. So I went seeking, looking to figure out what is this direct knowing channel. And unfortunately, Francisco, there's not many articles or research or information. Again, we come back to information online that talks about knowing channels and so forth, and the spiritual channels, unfortunately. So why don't we just briefly talk about, explain some of these spiritual channels, because I know, and I'm telling you, if anybody wants to find out more, you need to connect with Francisco on this. I mean, he is the master teacher behind this. So why would you briefly just explain the spiritual channels, what it means and how it's connected to the Shen Qi Jing when we talk about the information? Because sometimes we ignore gut. It's like that gut feeling, but we really should be listening a little bit closely, and then we'll do the practices in a short while.
Great. Thank you, Dianne.
Welcome.
Yes, so first of all, I'll start off by saying everyone can open their spiritual channels. Awaken your spiritual channels might be a better word, because we all have this ability. When we are deeply connected with spirit, deeply connected to Tao's source, to heaven, or whatever your spiritual beliefs are, connected to the universal light, oneness, you can receive messages. Now, there are 4 major types of spiritual channels that we all can learn how to develop. You mentioned one, the third eye channel. That is to see the spiritual images in the soul world. Your spiritual channels are composed of Shen Qi Jing, even though you cannot see them. Unless your third eye is open, maybe you will see light, but there is a tiny vibration. There is a particle of light. You know, like the photons in quantum physics, there's all these particles, electrons, protons. We can't see them, but they're making our things work, electricity work and things like that. We trust that they work. But so all these particles of light, all these things that we cannot see, that's Shen Qi Jing also. So our spiritual channels are composed of tiny Shen Qi Jing. We cannot see with physical eye, but it forms a field of light, a field of information that we can connect to retrieve information to guide our life. So the 4 major spiritual channels are called the soul language channel, which is the language of the soul, the universal language, or the light language. Yes, our soul has a universal language. All souls can communicate through soul language. Like mothers and babies, a baby speaking soul language, and a mom just knows what the baby is saying. It's like intuitive, a feeling that you just know. Or sometimes even animals. There are some people I have met in my life who have such a deep connection with animals, but they're not using normal language. But they're understanding. They're receiving messages. And they know what each other needs. That's the soul speaking. So then there's a channel called direct soul communication. Think of that channel like there's a book called Conversations with God. It's like you are having this direct conversation with God. Or if you have different spiritual beliefs, with a Buddha, with an angel, with a saint, with Tao, with any enlightened being, ascended master, guru, lama. It's a technique. You could communicate with a loved one who has transitioned. Many people love to know how a loved one is doing in their afterlife. The third is the third eye channel to see the spiritual images. And the last one is the direct knowing. The direct knowing is that instant knowing. You just know the answer. You just know what you need to do in life. A or B. You just know it's A. It's like the direction is clear for you. You could call that your gut instinct, your intuition. But the direct knowing, very powerful channel. What does that mean? It means you're deeply connected to your soul. It means you're deeply connected to the Tao, to the oneness. You're deeply connected to the quantum field because we're all connected. So that information then becomes available to you. So we can use our spiritual channels to guide our life. So whenever you're stuck, for example, if I meet many people, very intelligent, very successful people, but sometimes they're stuck. They're following how normal business ways of doing things or how we learned how to do something to have good success. They're doing all of that and something all of a sudden is not working. So we use the spiritual channels We ask a question to Tao Source, to a saint who carry higher vibration, higher light, higher positive information. And we use that then to guide our life. And what happens is the soul, the saints, angels, Buddhas, Tao Source give us information to clear those blockages, to help us understand how to move forward. And all of a sudden, things open up. It's amazing how it works. But when we align, what's happening is the alignment. There's an alignment that's happening with your soul, heart, mind, and body, with your life purpose, your soul purpose, that's happening with Tao, your alignment with Tao. And then that's when things flow much better in your life. So wherever you are flourishing in your life, things are flowing, things are great, because that you're in alignment in that aspect of your life. When aspects of your life that are not flowing, that is when you need to use your spiritual channels. And if you do not know how to use your spiritual channels, I myself offer lots of training, events, workshops, classes, programs, that you can do it. You can learn how to do that. And as Dianne mentioned, she mentioned, her intuition is very strong, her direct knowing. But one of her channels, the third eye, needs a little bit more development. It's a journey of opening, awakening, developing, but we all can do it. Thank you, Dianne.
Thank you so much for that explanation. It's very simple and detailed. And yes, if I can do it, anybody can do it. Trust me on that one. So, Francisco, let's put all this in a nice little package with a nice little bow. But just for anyone who is joining us on Divine Soul Journey, I'm here with Francisco Quintero, one of our Grandmaster teachers here in Toronto. And for those who would like to connect with him, he'll give his contact information shortly. But you can also contact us at dsjshow2020@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. We'd love to hear your story. Share your story. If you need a healing or blessing, come on, let's talk about your story. And we can share that. Now, I know you keep hearing the word Tao, and just to let you know, this is not about religion. This is not about Taoism and so forth. This is the Tao here we're referring to as divine source. Whoever your divine being is to you. So just want to clarify that. Now, we're going to do a forgiveness practice now, a short forgiveness practice and blessing. And, Francisco want to tie that with a nice little bow for us to do a reading, very short, simple reading for you to understand how we're putting all this together. That would be appreciated and welcome. So he would just set the stage here for those who are, just quickly I tell you, for those who are lying down and just relax, don't speak out loud. If he mentions something to repeat it, just do it silently. For those who are sitting down, sit up straight, nothing behind your back if possible, and just relax and just close your eyes. And for those who are standing, awesome. And I just want to set the space for them as well. And on with the show, Francisco.
Thank you. So let us all just close your eyes. Bring your awareness to your lower abdomen. Relax the crown of your head. Relax your shoulders, your neck. Relax your abdomen. Breathe deeply to your lower abdomen. Relax every part of your body, all the way down to the bottom of your feet.
And Francisco,
Totally.
Francisco, sorry, if I could just interrupt for a moment. I just want that people know that everyone's going to get what we call a splash or a flash, or just like you have a kindle, a spark from this blessing. So please note that you may or may not feel anything right away, and maybe you do, because I'm very sensitive to blessings as well, so I do feel it. So just please feel Don't feel that you're not going to be part of this practice, because you are also part of it. Uh, I'm not sure if Francisco is going to do the practice if it's directed more at me or generally speaking, but he can explain that. So I just want everybody to know that, yes. And if you choose to accept and be partake of the practice, please do. Just relax and enjoy it. Okay. Sorry about that, Francisco. I just
Great.
want everybody to know that, you know, they're not being left out.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
So continue to breathe into your lower abdomen. Relax. And I want you to repeat after me. Dear the Source, dear Divine, dear all my spiritual fathers and mothers in heaven, I love you, honor you, I appreciate you. I cannot thank you enough. I'm so honored and appreciative. And dear all the souls that my ancestors and I have hurt in this life, in past lives, please forgive us. Please forgive us for all our mistakes, for any hurt, harm that we have caused to others in all lifetimes. Please forgive us for all the negative information we have created. We deeply apologize. We thank you from our hearts and souls. Take a nice deep breath. And I'm going to be chanting a mantra, a sound that will help us to go deeper in forgiveness. It is called Greatest Forgiveness. You can just listen, and once you pick up the melody, you can join me in singing as well, or just totally relax. Greatest forgiveness, 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 greatest forgiveness. Silently, use your heart to chant. Feel your heart open to the power of forgiveness. Forgiveness brings peace, inner joy to your heart. Breathe deeply to your lower abdomen and release. And now I want you to visualize your parents and repeat after me. You picture your mom and dad in front of you. Dear my mother, I love you. I honor you. I appreciate you. Please forgive me if I have hurt you in any way. If my ancestors have hurt you in any way, in this life and past life, I forgive you unconditionally. You speak from your own heart to the soul of your mother. Give and receive forgiveness. Speak from your heart silently. Forgive her. Forgive her. Forgive her. Take a nice deep breath and let it all go. And now we go to your father. Imagine your father also standing there in front of you. Dear my father, I love you, honor you, I appreciate you. Please forgive me if I have hurt you in any way, in this life and past life. If my ancestors have hurt you in any way, I deeply apologize. I forgive you. Now speak from your own heart to the soul of your father. Anything you want to tell him. Give and receive forgiveness. Let it go. Forgive your father. Forgive your father. Forgive your father. Forgive your father. And let us now continue to chant greatest forgiveness. 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 Silently once more. And now you speak to the Tao. Speak to the source, to your spiritual fathers and mothers. Ask for forgiveness from your heart. Speak from your heart. Let it go. Let it go. Let everything go in your heart. Breathe very deeply to your lower abdomen. And the last one is to forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for making mistakes. Forgive yourself for any wrong thoughts, speech, action. Love and forgive yourself. Take a nice deep breath into your lower abdomen. Release. And we give thanks to Tao Source, Divine, all our spiritual fathers and mothers. We give thanks to our own soul, heart, mind, and body. Bring your hands together in gratitude, appreciation. Take a nice deep breath into your lower abdomen. And we say thank you, thank you, thank you. Love you, love you, love you. Feel your heart. Notice how your heart feels, your mind, your body. And when you're ready, you could open your eyes and notice how you feel. We just did a very short forgiveness practice, but notice how this feels. You can do a 1-minute forgiveness practice, a 5-minute forgiveness practice, 15 minutes. Every moment can totally transform your life. Some people do this as a daily practice. I recommend it for everyone. Okay, thank you, Dianne.
Thank you so much, Francisco. You know, the time goes so fast when you're having fun. So the next time you come back on the show, you will give us a blessing and do a reading, since we had a very beautiful, long forgiveness practice, which was well needed. Definitely. So I could feel it in my message center, my chest. I could feel it as well. Emotions as well too. That was a very powerful, different way of doing a forgiveness practice than we normally do. And connecting with your parents and the divine is very powerful. So Francisco, as we wrap up here, why don't you tell them or give them your contact information if they would like to connect with you? Of course, they could always connect with us to contact you as well. And spell your name, please.
Great. So thank you. So you could find information on Dr. Shah's website. It's drsha.com. And under contacts, you'll find our global centers around the world. And I am serving here out of Toronto. Or you could contact and email our center directly. That's Tao Center Toronto. That's TAO Center, CENTRE, Toronto at drsha.com, drsha.com. So those are some ways that you can connect with me to learn more, to do more forgiveness practice, or any upcoming events on the spiritual channels. Thank you, Dianne.
Thank you so much, Francisco. I want to again say thank you so much for taking the time. I know you're super, super busy. You're one of the main teachers there. Like you have, like we said, anywhere from 12 to 18 hours work days. And yes, I know it never stops for you at all. And I know that. So I want to thank you for everyone. Thank you, Francisco, again, for sharing those words of wisdom, the teachings and the learnings, because that's what our soul is here for the teachings and the wisdom, to take it forward to the next life until we go to what we say enlightenment. So thank you again,
Beautiful.
Francisco.
Thank you, Dianne, and thank you, everyone. It was a pleasure to be here with everyone.
And you're going to be back, right?
Yes.
We just have to schedule it. And I want to bring him in for very specific topics because his knowledge is amazing. So on that note, I would like to say to everyone, sometimes we don't know what we don't know, but until we do, and we're open to the teachings and learnings or the wisdom, or the just your channels are open or guiding you. For me, it was just like, okay, just release and let it be. Don't fight it. As Francisco keeps telling me, stop trying to understand it. So a joke. Every time I would say, well, I need to know this. Stop trying to understand it. And this is the lesson. We have to stop trying to analyze everything and just go with it. I always say we have to surrender, and we have to surrender in trusting and just let it go. You'd be surprised. Now, I'm not saying everything is going to come effortlessly, but that's what we want. We can choose to have it effortlessly, and we can choose to make it hard on ourselves. I know I do. I am not perfect. Francisco, karma free. And what does that mean? That's a whole nother conversation for another day. But he's worked really hard at that. So I want to thank everyone for joining us. I would like to thank Francisco. I would like to thank you. I would like to thank the souls who attended. And we say gun song, gun song, gun song. Typically, I don't say it until we do a blessing. But what it means is that, the souls came. Now we got to say it's okay. It's time you can go home now. They got to rest just like we do. I'm hoping you got something out of this. And again, if you would like to find out more information, contact us at dsjshow2020@gmail.com. We always look forward to sharing our words and wisdoms and all these amazing people. And definitely today was a day I've been looking forward for a very long time. So on that note, I would like to say aloha, namaste, sitaram, assalamu alaikum, shalom, good morning, good afternoon, good day, good night to each and every one of you. And we always say in the words of Master Shah, if you would like to know if this works, do it. Well, he pretty much says if you want to prepare a sweet, taste it. Go ahead and taste it. So I'd like to say to everyone, have a blessed day. And the music you've been listening to, just let it sink into your soul. And that's a love, peace, and harmony. This is the instrumental version. And I urge you to go and